Okay, as we see here, we're pending. So our API key has been made, our API call has been made, and now we're waiting for data retrieval. So this is the call that was made, going to, and this is the call that was redirecting and fetching information back to us. Okay, that looks much better. It doesn't have the random clicky. This project is going to be for helping a friend who does marketing and insurance sales for hospitals and clinics that do Medicare, Medicaid. So we'll be making a project where he can just put in a text such as I want clinics in Austin, and it will give him a list of clinics with their addresses, phone numbers, and other relevant information. So let's do it. So first thing I would do is I have cursor, so I'm going to use Gemini API key. So we will need a Gemini API key. Here, aistudio.google.com. You probably need to log in, and once you logged in, then it'll show up here which address you're using. Let me do get API key. Okay, so we're creating a new project, and in that project we'll be able to use this key. Okay, so we selected the project that we're working on, and also we made a key for that project. So we have this, and now the second most important thing is going to be getting Gemini docs. Okay. So once you have the main page, copy the page and then go to your cursor. Okay, so now we have a new cursor project and add documents. So first thing is go to settings bar up here, click open settings, and then I like to go to index and docs where I will add documentation. So the documentation we got from API Gemini docs, I can just add it in here, confirm. Okay, so last it was indexed on 6.5.25. I want to make sure it's indexed again. So let's just see if it gives me a better, does it re-index it? Now what we want to do is prompt it. So since I have added Gemini API documentation to cursor, I can do add docs and Gemini API. So now it has the relevant documentations on how to use the Gemini API and get the documents and data that we need. So what I want to create is make me a HTML web page that will be able to input text and get relevant data such as phone numbers, addresses, ratings, placeholder where I can put my API key. So the prompt that I made was make me a HTML web page that will be able to input text and get relevant data such as phone numbers, addresses, ratings, and other information, and have a placeholder where I can put my API key. Cursor built this. Now let's test it out and see exactly what I need to do. Okay. Yeah, let me fix that. So here I'm seeing that it wants it to be a submission where it's an input field and the user gets to input their API key. I do not want to be responsible for other people's API key. I just want to test this out for myself. So let's see what we can do. Okay, I want you to remove the API key text box because I only want to add it manually to the code. You remove the API key input field, find the section on top, script tag, uncomment line. Yep, that's what I wanted it to do. Here is exactly where I'll put my API key. And so the API key was in Google Studio. copy API key. I can copy it right here from this button, and let's go to cursor. Let's place it here. Let's save it. Okay, so now we've saved it. Let's go to our index file. Okay, so this is what it looks like right off the top. Let's say I want heart clinics in Austin, Texas. What's happening is that Cursor is creating a specific API call, but the naming of the API call is wrong. That's why I'm not able to get any data. Because I was able to have the network tab show me that there is things happening. So let's say, for example, if you click inspect, go to the network tab, and then you search something, so it's trying to retrieve data. 200 is okay, so it has access to deletion options, but also getting a 404 not found. I'm going to be specific and tell it to use documentation, GeminiAPI. Use the documentation from Gemini to verify which API model is used. Let's see what it changed. So most of it was just the text that was changed. So let's refresh and test it out again. Ta-da! Okay, so we have Heart Hospital of Austin. Is that an actual thing? Are you lying to me, API? Let's see. Oh wow, it's an actual thing. Well, so why is it not showing my data? Why is this not showing fetch response? Okay. Is this an actual thing? Why am I able to click? It's taking me to maps if I click. Let's search this. Austin Heart Cedar Park. All right. So that was crazy. Okay. So what we did was we went to Google AI Studio. We got our API key. We also found the documentation for Gemini API and used that library to import it into Cursor. So Cursor would have good documentation of how the API key works and how data retrieval is happening. Apart from that, we used Cursor to code exactly what we want. We made changes along the way to verify what we want is what output is coming out in the HTML. And at the end, we were able to get the data that we wanted. So we tried it for heart clinics in Austin. Let's do something else. Let's say we wanted to find taco places in Round Rock, Texas. Okay, so this is the fetch, so we're waiting on this response. Ta-da! Okay. Taquerias Argentinas. And then, okay, I don't like this where it's like a hyperlink and you can click everything. Let's change that. I like that it's working, but I do not want a hyperlink on everything. Please limit to no hyperlink or only on the main name of the place. Okay, what changed? Let's see the changes. Okay, we were replacing a H3. Alright, let's test it out now. Refresh. index. Okay, we want donut. Donut places in Austin, Texas. Okay, as we see here, we're pending. So our API key has been made, our API call has been made, and now we're waiting for data retrieval. So this is the call that was made, going to, and this is the call that was redirecting and fetching information back to us. Okay, that looks much better. It doesn't have the random clicky. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that seems to be exactly what I wanted it to do. Oh, good job on this thing. It went from blue to purple. All right, that's it for my video today. Thank you for watching.